Alright, TR. Talking about scales and stuff. Let me get this sun out of our deal. Cool. So first of all of this stuff has to do with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes in the major scale. And we'll try to group this a little more efficiently than we did in the lesson. First and foremost, major and minor chords are constructed of firsts, thirds, and fifths. That's the first, the third, 1, 2, 3, which looks like that, like in the G chord for starters, or this, and then a fifth, which is a power chord. So if I was going to play an A major triad, it would go 5, 4, 2, and there I'm saying that the notes in an A major chord are A, C sharp, and E. If you have any trouble picturing fourth string notes, look back an octave, like F sharp, like that. Okay, cool, so that's a major triad. So there's never going to be a chord called A sus3, because that would be just saying add a third to something that already has a third in it. And if we look at this, sure enough, it's got the right notes. Cool. A minor triad has a flat third, A, C, and D. A, C, and E. And if we look at our main major and minor bar chords, that's what's changing about it when we go major and minor. This right here is a third. So the third is what determines whether a chord is major or minor. So there we go. Alright, cool. So and we talked about suspensions and how something sus2 or add 2 or something like that, D add D sus2 is D with the second note in the major scale also in there, so that'd be a D with a E. D sus4. A fourth looks like this. You definitely want to memorize that because it comes up a lot. There's a lot of like 1, 4, 5 progressions, or more 1, 4, 5. And that a fifth looks like a power chord. Anyway, cool. So D sus4 would go, means we're adding G to it, and not this G, but yeah, G, free falling second chord. Adding G to it right there. There we go. Cool. Then if we keep going through the scale, so we've got first, second, third, fourth, fifth. A D plus 6 chord would be adding an F sharp to a D chord. Or sorry, that's already in there. A B to a D chord. So it'd be like, playing B there, or having the second string open, something along those lines. It'd be called, D plus 6, D add 6, something along those lines. So we just talked about exactly seconds, fourths, and sixths, because we're going to talk about seventh chords separately, and first, thirds, and fifths are already in our main chord and triad and all the main shapes. You can have flat fifth, flat third, which always just means flat that interval, or sharp it. I think the first one I randomly asked you was A flat, flat 5, and you did eventually come up with, and it was just a random choice. Cool. Sometimes you'll see stuff like C add 9, which is like the G, not G, but C chord, this one. And that D right here, that's the novel note rather than a regular C chord. So if we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they're specifying exactly in that octave that they don't want you to put in this G, they want you to put in, or excuse me, 9. Yeah, they don't want you to put in this C, they want you to put in that C. So not when it's like 9, 10, or whatever, they're referring to exactly that. You might want to stop the video and explore the stuff we just talked about a little bit. Alright, so adding to your current chord vocabulary, which does include regular seventh chords for both chord shapes, and minor seventh chords for both chord shapes. When I say both chord shapes, I mean E shape bar chords on all 6 strings, A shape bar chords on just 5 strings. Which brings us to the topic of seventh chords. There are 2 types of seventh intervals. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a regular 7th. Sounds like this with the root. Super dissonant, and it's in our major 7 chord, among other things. And then there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flat 7, which is actually Mixolydian. Look at your, all of your modes. It's not it. So yeah, Mixolydian is the major scale with a flat 7, but we're talking chords. So if you look at that shape, what it looks like is not the adjacent string, but one beneath it. Like if I'm playing G7, the note that I changed when I took my pinky off was I added that. Cool. So there we have it. Flat 7s sound crunchy, and they're the ones that are in chords like C7 and D7 and so forth. It would seem like D major 7 would be interchangeable with D7 terminology-wise, but major 7 is that chord that you already use a fair bit, it looks like. Then we get into I'm going to actually make this into a 2-part video just in case the recording geeks out.